Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah wallahu akbar wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahil aliyyil azim. Glory be to Allah, all praise to Allah. There is no God but Allah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Whatsoever is in the heavens and the earth glorifies Allah, is the most gracious. Welcome to the Virtuous Woman. I am Dania Tijani Adenle. Today on the Virtuous Woman, we're going to be speaking with a great woman. She is a journalist and a broadcaster. Who is she? Keep guessing. We'll go on a short break, and when we come back, you meet my guest.
وَلْتَكُمْ مِنْكُمْ أُمَّةٌ يَدْعُونَ إِلَى الْخَيْرِ وَيَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ وَأُولَئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. ولا تكونوا كالذين تفرقوا واختلفوا من بعد ما جاءهم البينات وأولئك لهم عذاب عظيم.
Al-Muminat Organization, a group of pious Muslim women upholding the tenet of Al-Islam premise on Al-Quran and Sunnah of the Holy Prophet. Al-Muminat Organization's activities include weekly and monthly tarbiyah, a gathering where women are sermonized, house to house and mosque to mosque dawah, e-vocational training for empowering women, Unity Day, Al-Muminat Training Forum, ATF, a camping program where women are taught in line with the dictate of Allah and the Holy Prophets. To be part of this laudable and rewarding project, contact Al-Muminat headquarters at number 1 Thani Olodo Street, Jibowu Bus Stop, Yaba, or send your contributions to the following bank accounts. For more information, call 0802-950-6613 or 0805-531-9534. Al-Muminat Organization, the believing women.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Until 2010, you weren't a Muslim. Can we discuss how Allah guided you to Islam?
First of all praise is to Allah alone, and He is the Lord of everything, without partner, without equal, and we praise Him and we love Him, and salawat on the Prophet, peace upon him. In 2010, if you'd have told me I was going to be a Muslim sitting here in hijab, I would have laughed and said, no way. There's no way. Because my journey up till then had not been a spiritual one. It had been a financial one, it had been a physical one, it had been a material one, but it had been devoid, empty of spirituality for maybe 20 years. In 2008, no, before that, my journey really began in the year 2000 when I saw a photograph on the television screen, and the photograph touched my heart, and it was of a young boy holding a stone, and he was about to throw the stone at a tank, and the tank was an Israeli tank, and the boy was a Palestinian. And I found out after looking at that photograph on the TV news that the boy was only 15 years old, and 9 days after that photograph, he'd been shot in the neck by a sniper and had bled to death on the floor of a refugee camp where he was protecting women of his people with a stone. And it just made me think, I don't know about this world. I have this vision that there's them and us, and that us, maybe they're terrorists, maybe they're violent, but I don't know the truth of it. I haven't visited. So I asked my editor at the Mail on Sunday, can I go to Palestine? And this was in 2005, to cover the elections. Now, when Allah has a plan for you, you can go to the left or the right, but He will send you in the direction that has been written. At the time, in 2005, I had two daughters aged 5 and 3 years old. I was living in France. I had, alhamdulillah, a big house, even with a swimming pool, a husband, everything in the material world. But something in my heart said, you have to go and find out about Palestine. I can't explain it to you. I arrived in January 2005 in Tel Aviv airport, and all I had was some Arabic names on a piece of paper of some men in Ramallah who said they'd help me. I didn't know anything. I got into a taxi, and the man was, mashallah, a Palestinian from Al-Quds, from Jerusalem. And he drove me from the airport to Ramallah, and he gave me 67 years of Palestinian history in an hour and a half. And when we got to the rolling hillsides, I looked and I saw an empty road, and we were on a busy road about to go to a checkpoint. And I said to him, why don't we use that road? And he said, you don't know much about this, do you? Are you sure you're a journalist? I said, well, tell me. He said, that road is for Jewish people only. I am Muslim, Palestinian, Arab. If I take this car on that road, we will be shot within maybe 10, 15 minutes. Still, we can try. I said, no, I don't want to try. Please don't try. And then he said something, and it really made me sad. He said, my tax money from my income pays for that road, that if I go on it, I'll be shot to death. And I thought, one word, apartheid. Because how else can you describe a road system and a tax system where if you're this color or religion, you get treated in a violent way, and if you're this color or religion, you're superior? It's apartheid. And that's not my word, that is Desmond Tutu saying that the condition of the Palestinians is apartheid. That is Nelson Mandela, who said the struggle of the South African people will never be complete without the freedom of the Palestinian people. But I didn't know that at the time. So when I arrived in Ramallah, the next day I interviewed Mahmoud Abbas, and I had to be accompanied by very big Palestinian men with guns, because every leader has some armed men around him. And I was scared. And when I heard them speaking Arabic, I heard the translation in my head was, we'll kill the white woman later. Muhaha. But the miracle of Palestine, really, where every major prophet has walked, where every stone cries the name of Allah, where even the rain is different. Wallahi, I promise you it's a different place, is that your heart can be changed within 3 days.
So what happened?
I traveled around the West Bank on my own. I didn't know that you're not supposed to. Normally journalists go to a Ramallah, they sit in a hotel room, they have guests come to them, and then they go back to their friends in Tel Aviv. Nobody gave me the note to say that, alhamdulillah. So what I did was I just walked around, and if somebody offered me a lift, I got in their car, and I traveled to Jenin, and I traveled to Nablus, and I met the people. And they were not angry people. I met families who had lost children to an occupation that's so violent. I met mothers and wives who hadn't seen their husbands in 10, 20 years. And they were not giving up. They were saying, thanks be to God, He has a plan for us. And I'd be there weeping, I'd be there furious, and they'd say, no, please don't come to Palestine and get angry. Come to Palestine and find peace. Because we are at peace with this.
And you found it.
The other thing I wanted to mention is that in every home where they were so generous to me as a stranger, where they gave me the last food that they had, where they offered, please come and live with us, please come and stay with us, was one book, the same book, the Holy Quran.
Allahu Akbar. So, can you compare your life before Islam and now that you've become a Muslim?
Well, it took my stubborn heart 5 years of experiences and some very deep experiences of peace in mosques as well, where I was invited to visit as a traveler, mashallah, for me to finally say, okay, I know that God is one and I love the Prophet Muhammad. I just want to talk about dawah, by the way, for a moment, because one of the sources of dawah, the people who were giving me the invitation to Islam, were Somalian taxi drivers. May Allah bless them. I'm going to make a quick dua. Ya Allah, bless the Somali taxi drivers all around the world. Because these men are da'i. They are. when you get into their taxi cab in London or Rome or Paris, they will give you an ayah of the Quran. If you speak to them, they will answer you in Quran. If you ask them something, they will tell you about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And so I used to be told this time and time again in these taxis, and I fell in love with an Arabian prophet from 1400 years ago, before I was even Muslim, subhanAllah. And that really was part of my journey.
Okay, so how did people receive it, your family, friends, the society, and how did you cope with that?
So in 2010, I went into a mosque because I kept hearing 3 words in my head. Allahu Akbar, 3 phrases. Allahu Akbar, Subhanallah, and Alhamdulillah. And they were going round and round and round in a loop in my head, and I didn't know what they meant. And I asked an imam of a mosque, I said, what does it mean? He said, it means you're Muslim. You better come in and say Shahada. Allahu Akbar. I said, okay. So I took my Shahada, and I started to learn the prayers. And what was really interesting was my daughter's reaction. I went home, I said, Mum, I'm thinking of becoming a Muslim, what do you say? They said, we have 3 questions. And they were 10 and 8 years old. 3 questions. Question 1, if you become Muslim, will you still be our mummy? Subhanallah. They thought maybe I had to go and be Muslim somewhere else.
Where else?
Yeah. If you're Muslim, will you still drink alcohol? Because I used to drink. You talk about my life before. Almost every day from the age of 13, I drank alcohol. Or at least every 2 days. Since the age of 13 to the age of 40. Imagine. 27 years. Right? So they said, will you still drink alcohol? I said, if I'm Muslim, I won't drink alcohol. I will still be your mummy. Final question. If you're Muslim, will you still show your chest in public? I said, what?
Really, and kids?
What? Are you asking me this? They said, Mom, we have to say we don't like the way you dress. Wow. It's really embarrassing, and we don't find it a good thing. I said, okay, if I come to Islam, I will be covered from head to foot in public. They said, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah.
They accepted Islam. That
they
was
accepted
great.
Islam.
That was
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah. Can we talk about your efforts on Palestine, you know, your sacrifice for the Muslim Ummah?
I'm not willing to say that I've made any sacrifices, because the real sacrifice is made by the people who live in the communities and who are struggling for the people around them. Those are the people making sacrifice. I would say that, alhamdulillah, I've been blessed with the ability and the chances by Allah to visit the West Bank, to visit Jerusalem, and to visit Gaza 6 and more times, and to meet the people there. And yes, we have raised a lot of money, alhamdulillah. We have built chicken farms in Gaza, and there's been rehousing of people on a very small scale. But really, the people there don't want to beg. The Palestinian people are a clever, industrious, hard-working, good, strong, highly educated people, and the last thing they want is charity. What they want is freedom. So what I'm committed to is to always speaking with my brothers and sisters. They don't need white people to speak for them, okay? But if I can speak with them and be alongside them, by Allah, it's a good blessing on me.
Thank you. If you've been listening to us, that's been our journey. We'll go on a short break, and when we come back, Virtuous Woman will continue.
وَلْتَكُن مِّنكُمْ أُمَّةٌ يَدْعُونَ إِلَى الْخَيْرِ وَيَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنكَرِ وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ ولا تكونوا كالذين تفرقوا واختلفوا من بعد ما جاءهم البينات وأولئك لهم عذاب عظيم.
Welcome back. This is the Virtuous Woman. I was been talking with Lauren Booth. She is a broadcaster, a journalist, and a revert to Islam. We've been speaking about her journey to Islam. It's been a pleasure having you. Now, there are so many Muslims who were born Muslims, who didn't have to discover Islam, who aren't practicing. What would be your message for, Muslims, people like that?
The shaitan has his tricks. And this world of so-called freedom is actually one of entrapment. So I even get Muslims saying to me, how did you give up your freedom to come to Islam? Astaghfirullah. You think I was free before and I'm contained now? I found freedom at the age of 42 years old when I said my shahada. Before that, I was trapped. How was I trapped? I was trapped by my nafs. So I was trapped by the need to be right. And that's really tiring. If you need to be right all the time, it's tiring because you're not always right. If you need to control the universe around you, you're a mother. If this happens, if I don't do this, the world will come crumbling down. If I do this, everything will be okay. Psychologically, you're trapped. Okay? I was trapped by my need for alcohol. I was trapped by my need for cigarettes. I was trapped by the need to be approved by other people. I was trapped by the need to have a little bit of fame. I was in a multitude of spider webs and traps. And what Islam does is it cuts you free of all of those. And the silence enters your heart. And all you have to be is a good, worshipful person. And Allah will take care of everything else. And that is peace. And I urge everybody to give in to that peace. Make your first sujood today. Put your head to the ground. And you only have to say 2 words. Say, I'm sorry. Say, I'm sorry, Allah, that I forgot you. And say, thank you.
Alhamdulillah.
Say, sabr, and shukr.
Okay, so we're in the month of Ramadan. Ramadan is the month of mercy, is the month of forgiveness, it's a month of charity. What are the things you do in Ramadan, and what are the things you would encourage people to do in the month of Ramadan?
Well, this is the month of the Quran, so the first thing to do is to reconnect with our book. No, with the book of humanity, the book that we've been blessed to know. It's only our book because Allah has allowed us to know it, and other people don't even know it. So when everybody increases their ibadah. So if you're not praying, you will pray, inshallah. So when you're on your prayer mat, bring the Quran with you and just read. If you can read 4 or 8 pages, that you're on your way to completing the Quran in 1 month, and it will reconnect with your heart, if Allah wills. And this is the months when the heavens are open and hell is closed. So you don't know the abundance of knowledge and wisdom that will come to you. So that is number 1. Number 2, if you're already doing that, my family, my daughters and I, we're going to try to learn some new dua. And possibly, if Allah wills, learn Surah Mulk. Because Surah Mulk, although it's 30 ayah, you can learn an ayah a day if we really concentrate on it. And then it's a protection from the grave. If you repeat it every night before you sleep, you can get protection from the terrors of the grave and the tests of the grave. And that's a great thing to have. Who doesn't want that, right? Inshallah.
So what do you hope to do on Eid Day?
Just to talk a little bit more about Ramadan, and also just increasing good deeds. So we often concentrate on, as women, cooking for our families, mashallah, and if we're tired with all our chores, that's all we can do. But if you can make extra, give it to your neighbors, even if they're not Muslim. If you have a little bit of extra time, your family's away or something, you're on your own, go to the masjid and say, who is poor? Who can I sit with? Visit the sick. The rewards are so abundant, tens and hundreds of times increased. So try and do a little something every day that's practical as well. Bismillah.
Okay. On a final note, women were a great community. Were special as babies, as wives, as mothers. What would you say about the position of women in Islam, and what message do you have for women?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We are, as the saying goes, half the world, and we give birth to the other half of the world. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned us in beautiful ways in the Quran, especially about our sacrifice in giving birth, about how we are nurturing. So recognize that nurturing and soften our voices and allow the kindness that Allah has put in us to come through. And any bitterness this month, take it out of the hearts and ask Allah to bless us. And may He give us good spouses and good children and good futures and blessings in the akhirah, inshallah.
Okay, we're coming to the end of the program. You're being watched by Nigerians on the television network. Message for Nigerians.
Assalamu alaikum, my brothers and sisters in Nigeria. I've wanted to meet you for such a long time. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you the best of this holy month, a beautiful Eid, and peace and prosperity into the future, and bring you all closer to the deen, because your country will benefit the more you love God. So God bless you, God bless the Christians in your country, and may He give you peace. Ameen.
It's been a wonderful time with you. We've learned a lot. We've had a peep into your journey to Islam, and we're happy for you. Jazakallah khairan for coming to the program. It's a pleasure.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Peace upon you. My name is Lauren Booth, and you're watching The Virtuous Woman.
آمنت بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله واليوم الآخر والقدر خيره وشره من الله والبعث بعد الموت لا إله إلا الله آمنت بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله واليوم الآخر والقدر خيره وشره من الله والبعث بعد الموت